On the front lines of war, many veterans say you can count on your friends and faith. A new exhibit opening soon at a museum in our area chronicles the role of chaplains. Thomas Kenny with the Korean War National Museum in Springfield joins us for this part of our story. Thomas, good to have you.
It's good to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you have many records there. I mean, and I'm really impressed. If you ever get a chance to go to Springfield and check these things out, it's really amazing. You've got lots of records there. So do a lot of them talk about the importance of faith and the folks that help to administer that faith during wartime?
Yes, the chaplain played a very overlooked but important role in keeping up the morale of soldiers, and particularly in POW camps is really when you got to see the signs of their valor in the war.
Okay, so when chaplains, were they sent specifically to POW camps? Was that allowed by whoever our enemy was at that time? Or because, you know, you never know who's going to get captured.
Gotcha. Actually, they usually would stay behind helping wounded that would then get captured themselves along with the wounded. So that's how they ended up in the POW camps.
Interesting. So I'm sure there's some interesting stories of their experiences personally in those POW camps.
Yes. In the exhibit, in the write-up, you can learn more about this, but there's a Father Emil Capon. He actually has been recognized by the Pope for his sacrifices, and he actually died in the POW camps, helping, steal food and then giving his food to other POWs who were sick, and really just an amazing, amazing story.
Very interesting. Were the chaplains of a particular brand of faith?
The chaplains, for the most part, were Christian. There were other denominations out there, but much smaller, being that the majority of the soldiers were of a Christian faith.
Sure. And so you actually brought a couple of artifacts that help to tell the story of chaplains during the war. So tell me a little bit about this.
Yes, these are actually relatively recently donated items. We got a chalice and a cross that a chaplain used. And these will all be on display with a few other unique items. And you can see that in the picture, the chaplain is giving mass just on top of a Jeep hood, and there's a government issue organ that's being played. It was, very common to have these kind of symbols of faith to help the soldiers.
Sure, because they're facing all kinds of tribulation out there, and you need your faith to keep going through these very difficult times. It's very understandable too, and it's interesting with the chalice and the cross too. So this is, I take it, from a Catholic chaplain.
Actually, he did both. We've got donations. This was donated later, but the early donation they had little communion cups. So I mean, I think
wow.
He really played to his audience and helped be there, the moral and spiritual support.
Yeah, because no matter what faith you are, when you need God in those situations, you
Exactly.
need God, yeah. So this is the kind of thing that's going to be on display. When does that open up?
This will actually open up probably Friday morning will be the first time people will be able to see it. It's actually being created by one of our interns that's actually just from down the road at EIU.
Okay, and actually that's perfect timing because you are having a special speaker this weekend, so they can get 2 for 1.
Correct, exactly. You get to see a new exhibit and have our most recent installment in our speaker series, Barth Bookhout. He's actually talking about racial integration in the Korean War, because this was the first war, it was official policy, and you had African American and white soldiers all fighting together, unit by unit, whereas prior you had the segregated units that they fought in by themselves. So
Sure, and I'm obviously that's such a hot topic now, 50 years after the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and everything that's been happening in the news lately. So it's very topical and interesting to see the military perspective on how these things changed and people perceived it.
Exactly. I mean, it was the first time, like I said, it was implemented, and you didn't have a lot of the issues you'd think that would happen when you first throw it in, but like you had kind of later wars, like Vietnam, you had some issues, but for the Korean War, it really worked out, and like you said, with the Civil Rights Act coming that much later, this was kind of the first real integration and putting it out there. So.
Yeah, interesting. So, all right, so that's happening this weekend, 2 o'clock at the and you guys are the National Museum for the Korean War, and it's right here in Springfield. Now, for a complete look at their speakers list and their upcoming exhibits, be sure to visit their website at KWNM, KoreanWarNationalMuseum.org for more.